Hey music lovers, Sara J here. Looking for an inclusive space where you can connect with fellow fans, deep dive into your favorite music, and be a part of something special? Well, look no further. Join us on Patreon, where music and community come together. Get exclusive content, behind the scenes access, and a place to geek out over the artists you love, plus explore music you haven't heard yet. Come hang out with us. Patreon.com/DATC Media Company. That's patreon.com/DATC Media Company. See you there. A member of the DATC Media family. Hey everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for the first episode of Dropped Among This Crowd in 2026, which is just wild to say. We won't go down that rabbit hole. If you know me, you know how I feel about the concept of time. But just to think of it in terms of this year, the show will be 8 years old. That part in itself, to me, is such a wild concept that I have been behind the mic consistently bringing you content for 8 years. That's just wild for a lot of reasons. So thank you for listening. If you have been an OG listener since back in the day, or if you are just joining the adventure now, either way, I am so grateful for you being here and taking the time to listen to me in your ear holes in your busy life. So yeah, there's a lot of very cool things brewing over here at DATC Media Company, which is also exciting. This year, the company will be official. It'll be 5 years, which that's also really wild. And exciting to see how everything has grown in that time. If you own a business, you know that 5 years is still, your business is still a baby. So it's been amazing to watch it grow and what it has become, and the things that are growing and coming to fruition currently, and all the things that who knows what the next year and beyond, but especially the next 12 months holds for, DATC Media Company. I'm really excited. So I hope everybody had a good holiday, whatever it is that you celebrate over that time, whether it's Christmas, whether it's Yule, the solstice. I believe Hanukkah was a little earlier this year, but happy Hanukkah if that's what you celebrate. Whatever thing that it was that you were celebrating, I hope that it was a wonderful time. I know sometimes it can be a bit much for folks, myself included. There's always a mixed bag of emotions around the holidays, of course, but the kids and I always have a great time, and it's really nice to slow down for those 2 weeks it wound up being at the end of the year, and New Year's was really great too. We had plans to go out and watch the ball drop downtown Buffalo, but the weather had other plans, and where I live, a suburb outside of Buffalo, we just got hammered with snow. And if you're from here, or if you've experienced it, you know that we got crammed with snow, but then there were other places that got snow, still dealt with the cold and the wind, but didn't get it the same way we did. But that's just the way that the wind flows and the snow does its thing here in Western New York. So it was just the best idea for us to stay home, and it was great. It's exactly what we wanted to do. We stayed up way too late playing video games, and that was so much fun. So whatever it is that you did on New Year's, I hope that it was an awesome time. I have a lot of friends that were at all sorts of music going on over the new year. So it was great to see everybody's posts and all the things. It was nice to just like lay low too, in terms of like content and everything too. Over those 2 weeks, I mean, your girl is always cooking on something in the background. But not taking a lot of calls and not like doing a lot of things, just kind of like marinating and kind of tending to some different creative gardens behind the scenes, and move into the next chapter of coverage for the media company and everything. So in terms of that here on the show this year, of course it's going to be business as usual. I'm really excited about the folks that I have already lined up to be guests here on the show this year. And if you're listening and you have not had the pleasure of sitting down with me and being a guest here on the podcast, or if you know somebody who would just be amazing to have here on the show, please reach out to me. droppedamongthiscrowdpod@gmail.com. I'll put everything in the show notes, of course. But shoot me an email, or you can just go to my website, datcmediacompany.com, and underneath the contact tab, my calendar is there. So feel free to just book a time. I have no problem with that at all. Just do it. Like my buddy Dan Wallace, when he booked his time, he was like, I hope it wasn't weird that I just like booked a time after I listened to your episode with my friend Mark. And I'm like, no, please, that's what I want you to do. So definitely do that if you would like to be a guest here on the show, or know somebody who is interested, because I would love to chat. And like I said, I'm really excited about the conversations that I have already lined up. And again, who knows what's in store here on the pod. Also, I know I mentioned it a bunch, but there is always content and things dropping over on the Patreon, DATC Media Company, patreon.com/DATC Media Company. And there's all sorts of stuff going on over there. One of my goals in 2026 is building the community more over there and getting more into the different features and things that Patreon has. I really like the space to create and build that community without having the input of the Gen Pop on social media, or having to be in those apps and spaces to access it, like Facebook groups and things like that. Like, I'm just so over Facebook. So I would love to just have the community build over there in Patreon. So come on and join us. It's free to sign up. There is a paid option if you are interested, and that just gets you access to any sort of live streaming, private live streaming stuff that we do, any sort of little parties that we do, album releases, stuff like that. Will get you access to those kind of things. Also, it helps, things run here. The input financially is always appreciated. But you can sign up for free and join the community. And if you have any input of what you would like to see in terms of content or community stuff, things like that over on the Patreon, please reach out and let me know. I'm still learning all the things that it can do. So I'm always here to hear what folks want. Let's see what else is going on here. If you have been following along on social media, which if you're not, especially on Instagram is where I really like hang out and thrive and love to be. So follow me there on Instagram. Also the media company, the podcast, all have separate pages. So give them all a follow. The little project that I have been working on for a little bit now, almost a year since the email came to me asking for me to be a part of this project. And so now we were able to finally drop, I call it a nice little breadcrumb. It's, I guess, a little appetizer, something to kind of wet your palate per se. So I have been working on the Copper Penny project, this incredible, interesting, just, it's been such an honor really to be asked to work on this project with Andrew and Mike, and they have been so much fun to work with over the past almost year. And, you know, when you're working with somebody for a year, you get to know them. And so that's been really awesome too. And one of the things that I really love about doing these things with people, you know, they'll bring me an idea and it always materializes way beyond the expectations of the person that brings me the project. And a lot of times the same is for me, but in a much different way, because I always see the grand picture of someone's idea. Like I can see it. I will take someone's idea and then just run with it because I can see how big something can be, how much we can do with someone's idea. So, you know, I have a grander vision, but even then I'm always like, wow, that's really amazing how that manifested, much more amazing than I even anticipated. And I already anticipated it being amazing. But that's one of the things that I really love about working with people in this capacity is where we are right now in this project. You know, we're still working on a lot of things behind the scenes. We've had some really fascinating and amazing conversations. But because we've dropped this little nugget of breadcrumb, the guys are beginning to see the pieces come together, and being able to watch them see this come together is just so exciting to me. So to back it up, if you didn't see the little breadcrumb that we dropped on socials or the emails, if emails are more your gig, make sure that you're signed up for the email list when I send out stuff all the time. So the Copper Penny project was brought to me in the spring of 2025, and Andrew was part of the fan team that worked on the Tragically Hip's docuseries that came out in 2024. I had to think for a minute because the years are weird. Anyway, so he was a part of the fan liaison, you know, kind of the conduit between the team that was working on the project and the fans, and, you know, all these different things. And after that project wrapped, there was this, he felt, you know, this untold story of this iconic and legendary recording of the band in its infancy at the Copper Penny, this iconic venue in Kingston, Ontario. And so within the band's community, there was, you know, this lore of the Copper Penny recording and the history of the band at that time. This was a very, you know, pivotal moment in the band's formation and changing, and just all the seeds that were being planted, and things that were happening and in motion. And it was a very interesting, foundational moment in the Tragically Hip's history. And so Andrew and Mike wanted to bring this story to life. And so it came to me, and we've just been plugging away at it for the past almost year in all the different capacities, with meetings and conversations and brainstorming and logos and intros and just all of the things the past almost year. And it's been so much fun. I have learned so many things. I have had just the opportunity to just learn so much cool shit. And you know me, I love any sort of music history stuff. So this is right in my wheelhouse. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. If you didn't see anything about it drop, it is also in the podcast feed. So it would be the episode, trailer, etc., whatever you want to actually call it, before this episode in your feed. So there is also that. So stay tuned. There is more coming. I don't really have any other details that I could even share at this moment. So just stay tuned. The Copper Penny is also on Instagram. I did make a page over there. And so I will be dropping little things over there as well. And I will link that in the show notes so you can give a follow. But stay tuned. So excited about that project. And if you are listening to this when it drops on Tuesday, January 6th, hopefully you can join me live over on YouTube tonight. I'm going to be debuting my new show over there called Something On. I think right now it'll be bi-weekly. It may only be monthly, but we'll see. It's one of those things that obviously will do what it needs to do over time. But tonight will be the debut episode at 7 p.m. Eastern. I am going to be coming to you live with a 45-minute, 60 minutes, maybe. We'll see how much content we have. But for sure, like 45 minutes. And it's just going to bring you all of the news and content and things that are being released and happening in the world of the Tragically Hip. There is so much amazing content out there, podcasts, bands, adjacent acts, just all sorts of things that are going on, just kind of orbiting in the community. And I thought that it would be a really great idea to kind of have one place where you would be able to get a rundown of everything that was released everywhere. And then you can go on and listen to what you feel is going to be what you want to listen to. And also, I'm going to have a guest. The plan is to have a guest every week. I will have a little segment of news and whatever in the beginning, and then I'm going to welcome a guest. I would really love to welcome, folks in the community that are the creatives, the people that are creating this content and want to have a platform to talk about what they're doing. So this week, I'm going to have my very good friend, Jeremy Hoyle, who is the lead singer of the Strictly Hip here in Buffalo, New York. And it's been really wonderful to get to know those guys over the past year as well. And now to the point where I've worked merch for them at a couple of shows recently, and that has been such a fun gig for all the reasons. And your girl is killing it at the merch booth. But the band is, and I'm so grateful that they have allowed me to take on this job, and I just love it. It's just so much fun, and I love seeing those guys. They are currently doing a January residency at this venue here in Buffalo called Babeville. It's the 9th Ward. It's an old church here in Buffalo that Ani DeFranco bought and redid all of it inside of it and made it into a live music space. So the upstairs where the church part was, I believe there is the music venue up there. I've never seen a show there. But then the basement also has a venue there as well, and that's where I've seen any of the music that I've seen is there, and that's where the band was playing. I believe there's a recording studio in there as well. I'm pretty sure that there is, and it would make sense. But it's this amazing spot in downtown Buffalo, and what a creative and amazing thing to do with this beautiful church that would otherwise, probably sit empty or be, abused and not loved, and now there's music in that building, so that's amazing. So it's such a cool spot, and almost every Friday in January, there's one that they're not, but every Friday in January they are playing one of the Tragically Hip's albums in its entirety, front to back, and, then they'll do other songs as well, but it's such an awesome idea. Last Friday, January 2nd, was the first one. They did Up to Here. And so this Friday, they'll be doing it again. And I'm excited. And so when I was getting ready to put this show out here, it only felt logical to have Jeremy on this week to talk about the residency. So I'm really excited to hear what he has to say about it, and then get my questions off my chest that I've had about the history of them doing the residency and everything. So yeah, come on and join me and a whole bunch of awesome folks that are going to be tuning in live as well over on YouTube, DATC Media Company, and then also subscribe while you're over there, and then that way you will get the little notifications when anything goes live over there. And those audio recordings, if you don't tune in live, the video will still live on YouTube, so you'll be able to go back and watch it. But the audio will be released in the podcast feed on Thursdays. So whenever there's a live show on Tuesday evenings, the audio will drop on Thursdays in your feed. So if that's more your jam. So yeah, I think that's everything I had. I just wanted to jump on here and say Happy New Year. I hope that everyone is enjoying the ride, right? Just enjoy the ride. I love you all so much. I'm so excited for this coming year, for the show, for the company, for myself. There's so many things that are going on behind the scenes here too, and trust the process. That's just what I keep reminding myself. So thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you check all of the show notes, and make sure you're following on the socials and doing all the things. Sign up for the emails, and then that way you know everything that is going on here at DATC Media Company. So again, I would love to talk to you this year on the show. Hit me up if you are interested in that. If your band is releasing some new music in 2026, let's chat. I've been doing a lot of PR work with bands and helping get their new releases out to the masses. So if you or your band is releasing some new music in 2026 as well, hit me up. Let's talk. So yeah, check out the show notes for links for all the things, and I will see you around these parts next week. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. Please be sure to leave a review of the show. It would mean so much to me, and it helps get this podcast into the ears of even more fellow music fans. If you're not already following the show on social media, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Dropped Among This Crowd Podcast, or check out DATCMediaCompany.com for more. Thank you again. I'll see you around these parts real soon. Mad love.